because Rad, this word gets thrown around quite a bit as well. We have true corporate credit is if you're generating over $2 million in revenue a year. And so you have business credit and you have corporate credit. Business credit is what we're breaking down with some of the PG and non-PG stuff, right? Corporate credit it's completely independent of you, but you're talking about $2 million at this point, and there's no place on American Express that you can actually apply online. You got to call in. You have to have an actual pretty much connection with the rep over there in order to even apply for any products. They got to send you a link. You know what I'm saying? And so that conversation is totally different. I think that for the majority of us, we can maybe stick to either PG or non-PG. I think maybe corporate credit, we can say that for a different level call because the majority of us are going to be able to do some damage with these talking points here. So non-PG, EIN only, pros and cons, because I'll give you both sides of the story here. Not as reliant on your personal credit. So bad credit is going to be okay. So for those of us that have a little bit more challenged credit, you're on the up and up, you've been listening to Rad's calls, you've been doing some cleaning, you hired a credit cleaning company, you would, as that's happening, because I tell this to my clients all the time, as that's getting cleaned out, you want to do some building over here on this side through some trade lines, right? This would be like the exceptions of why someone would actually want to take the EIN only route. The second is approvals are based on the business credit and the structure of the business, meaning how old the business is, where the business is located, the actual business credit. So do we have like an 80 paydex score? Do we have at least 3 trade lines reporting on our credit? If so, now we have something called comparable credit, which means we can get approved for additional credit based off of what's already reporting. Better for separating personal from business in this case. It can make PG requirements go away with cash, right? So you can make, again, sidebar, you can make PG requirements go away with some cash. Clear example would be like a Shell fleet card, where they'll say, hey, you submitted this application, and so now you have 2 options. If you don't want to PG, meaning you're not going to get a hard inquiry and it's not going to be reliant on your personal credit. So if you default at that point, then you can make that go away with like a $500 deposit, right? But I'm also very careful to say, not dependent on you if you decide not to pay, because I think that that's just a bad habit to get into. I've noticed that a lot of people that I talk to that are scared to PG, it's one of 2 reasons, and you're probably on this call. It's either A, you have poor credit, which again, that can be fixed, right? You just got to be a little bit patient. Or second, you just plan on walking away if something hits the fan. I'm just calling it like I see it, right? Hey, if I don't pay this, I don't want this to fall back on me. I think that is the worst way of going about business. Like that right there is you're already planning that you're going to fail, which is why whenever I talk to someone that says, no, I don't mind PGing, like I'll make my payments on time. You know, if I have to shut down, let's say another card to be able to get this one right here, like, dude, I don't plan on going out of business. And so like the whole defaulting thing doesn't even cross my mind. Now the cons is access to business funding is very limited. I'm going to side with Rad on this one, and I'm going to side with Credit Plug Antoine on this one. Access to business funding is very limited outside of some of the you know, cards that we typically see, which is the Divvy and the Capital on Tap, and who's the other, and the Ramp card. Outside of those 3, it's going to be very difficult for you to get any type of real cash value credit. So you must wait 6 to 12 months before some products go unsecured. And then most trade lines aren't real cash value, which again, you can only use it at that store, or you can only use it with that company. Is PG for you? This means that you have a strong credit profile, FICO score at least 700. If this call was taking place the same time last year, I would have told you 650. That's not happening anymore, especially with the current economic climate. And so baseline 675, but I don't want you at baseline. I want you a little bit above baseline, 700. 700 plus is where you really want to sit on the FICO. You need to access funding in the next 30 to 60 days. PG is going to be a good look for you, and you don't mind putting your personal credit on the line. Like anything else, there's a trade-off, right? If you're driving a fast car, don't expect to hit a bump. If you are driving a big body Hummer, don't expect to compete with the NASCARs, right? You got to pick your vehicle. And so PG, which is, again, the fast way, some pros is you're able to access some real cash value funding faster, meaning if Chase Business Inc. approves me for a $50,000 Chase Business Inc. credit card, I can use that anywhere for my business, not just a Uline $50,000 account that I can only use at Uline. Real cash value. You have access to far more funding products with lenders, banks, and credit unions. You can get approved for business credit on day 1 as a startup. This question comes up all the time. My LLC is a day old. My LLC is 30 days old. How fast can I get access to funding day one? Yesterday. Mañana. Ayer. All of them. Every language. Like, how do you say where you're at right now in Bali? Like, what language do they speak, bro?
Bahasa.
What is that? Yesterday?
Right. Absolutely.
No, but what I'm saying is because that comes up quite a bit, right? And it's all this information that's kind of like brought together. Well, I thought my business has to be 2 years old. No, dude, that's only for certain business lines of credit. But wait a minute, I thought that they would take a look at financials. No, that's only for going stated doc, not if you're going no doc, which the actual term for it is stated income product. So the only reason we use no doc, and the only reason I'm using no doc here on the call when I'm speaking to audiences is because that's just that's like the lingo that's involved in the credit space. But really, it's stated doc, right? That's really what it is, or non-stated income. That's really what it is. And so some cons is strong personal credit required now more than ever. Accounts linked back to your social and your personal name, which you guys already know. And then 3 is you are on the hook in the event that you default, meaning God forbid business goes under, you have $25K that you owe on a card, that points back to you. If you don't pay that obviously hits your personal credit. That's one of the biggest reasons why people are scared of it. But I wanted to take like a step further into this and kind of like press on that even more because I'm not afraid to hurt feelings on this call. I think that you guys deserve the truth as business owners in 2023, where the economic climate is. Don't think that banks and lending institutions, just because you non-PG'd, are not going to try to come after you, especially if you owe a large amount. Don't think that just because you have 60K on the line with Uline, business at the fan, your e-com store didn't pick up. Oh, that's good. It's non-PG. They can still come after you. They can still come after you guys. I'm not trying to steer you into any direction. You guys are big guys. You guys are big girls. But you know what I mean? Like we got to put an end to this of, you guys can only use this. If you guys want to have a blend of both, we have clients that they have 100K PG and then they have like another 35K over just on Uline and trade accounts. You guys can blend both. We don't need to live in a world of this or that. It's this and that. So route 1, let's break that down. Main players is if we're going EIN only, the main players that you want to watch out for in this space is Dun Bradstreet, Experian Commercial, Equifax Business, and Small Business Financial Exchange. The first 3 that you see on there are actual credit reporting agencies. The last one that you see on there is not a credit reporting agency, even though sometimes it gets a little confusing. You would think that it is. Really what they are is a data furnishing agency. So I want you to think of the Small Business Financial Exchange kind of like you would who's LexisNexis, because LexisNexis reports both your business and your personal information. And so they are furnishing that information over to Dun Bradstreet, Experian, and Equifax Business. Now, there's a difference between vendor accounts and trade accounts, right? Your vendor account, I'm sorry, there's the main thing is vendor accounts and trade accounts, but there's a difference between your vendor and your trade accounts and financial accounts. The main accounts that you're typically going to get, which is, again, the net 30s, which means that from the day that you were invoiced, so today is April 6th, 2023, at the time of this recording, I make a purchase today with Uline. They are going to, let's say I buy $200 worth of ink and batteries. They are going to send out an invoice on behalf of my business. I now have 30 days to make that payment. So until May 6th, that's going to, or whatever that is, right? That may be a little bit more, that may be like 31 days, but 30 days from the day that I was invoiced. That's essentially what a net payment is. If it's a net 15 days from the day that you're invoiced to make that payment. Net 20, so on and so forth, right? So you have your vendor accounts and then you have your financial accounts. Your vendor accounts is typically going to be on the net payments. Your financial accounts, which is what's normally going to report over to Experian and Equifax, is how you want to start building out some of those files, which I'll leave a little bit of that for the next couple of weeks. But that's going to be more of business credit cards, not vendor accounts or not trade accounts. You want to have both because that's known as a payment experience, right? And that's how you're able to stack these a little bit faster so that you can kind of balance out which credit profile is getting built at what given moment. So, hey, I'm already at an 80 paydex score from 1 to, let's say 1 to 100. I'm at an 80 paydex score. You don't need to keep adding accounts to your Dun Bradstreet. If maybe your IntelliScore, which is with Experian, goes again from 1 to 100 and you're sitting at a 30, we may want to start taking a look at some accounts that are solely going to report over to Experian,